Hello, YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. How y'all doing? Let me just quickly set up here on this other platform and ensure that both of y'all are running at the same time. Um, what are you showing to
This.
YouTube? What? Your sleeve?
Look.
All right, Jordan. Okay, no, Jordan, no. You need to go to bed. It's bedtime.
This is the time.
All right, good evening. Good evening, Hope. How better late than never. I hope you guys had a terrific Tuesday. How y'all doing on this magnificent Tuesday, January 29th, 2019, or I should say the year of the Lord 2019. So I hope you guys had a terrific day. I'm here with a late night lifeline, and I'm actually moving from basically what I discussed yesterday, which was taking responsibility for yourself or taking care of yourself the same way that you would take care of someone you are responsible for. So I'm still going on this idea of responsibility and taking care of yourself. And so today's focus is actually on self care. If you guys have been with the Hope Hub long enough, you probably know that I actually talked about self care before. I think actually around this time last year, because I took a class that taught us about self care. And primarily, they did that through the Olga Phoenix self care wheel. Phoenix Self Care Wheel. So I'll make sure that I post that wheel on here so that you guys can look at it. And actually, online, I believe they also have a blank version of the same self care wheel where you can do your assessment and then you can decide for yourself what you're going to incorporate in the 6 dimensions of your life. So, just quickly regarding the self care wheel. The self care wheel will show you which areas of your life you need improvement. So, some of us, and me as well, when I thought about self care in the past, I would think about self care as yoga, self care as someone laying down in a bubble bath, or someone laying down and they have those stones or rocks along your spine, like kind of frou frou type stuff, or things like meditation or whatever, all that kind of stuff. But with the class that I took last year, what it taught me is that basically self-care is one of the ways that you alleviate stress. It's one of the ways that you get rid of or eliminate stress in your life and also bring balance back to your life. So that's very important. I'm sure you guys give me a second. I was just trying to fix another camera. So, all right. So basically, I'm going to go through the 6 dimensions. 6 dimensions. Number 1 is physical. I'll give you the 6 first. So it's physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, personal, and professional. All those are 6 areas of who you are and areas that you need to focus on individually and try and bring some balance. I know some of you do not believe in balance. I have a hard time believing in balance, but that's what the self care wheel says. But what I do for myself is I try and prioritize those areas. So I try and figure out which area am I going to prioritize during this chapter of my life, because that's a place that's kind of in need of more attention than other areas. So, for example, if I'm already very physical in terms of exercise and doing things that are of physical nature, why would I be adding more onto it and instead neglecting maybe the emotional or the psychological area? So some examples from the self-care wheel in terms of things that you can do physically. Number 1 is exercise. I already mentioned it. So y'all know last year, and I hate that I'm saying last year because I really want to get back to it, but last year I was regimented almost, anal, I don't know what to call it. It's like every single day I had to wake up at a certain time. I had to get 30, actually 45 minutes to an hour of some kind of physical exercise. And when I say some kind of physical exercise, it was basically running. That's what I did every day. It's either running or walking. There was a point at which I was doing Taibo. There was a point at which I was doing T25. and I was very, very, very consistent. Now I've kind of fallen off of that. And in terms of physical as well, another area that you focus on is sleep. And in that area, I have now increased the amount of time that I'm actually resting and sleeping. So instead of me waking up in the morning and actually exercising, that work is that time slot. Guess what? I'm hitting the snooze button like 1,500 times, and I'm going back to sleep and rolling over and rolling over. Not good, whatever, but at least I'm still doing something in the physical sphere. And guess what? When you sleep, it replenishes you, it rejuvenates your cells, and it makes you a much better person. I don't know. Yo, anyway, so physical, it's exercise, sleep, and then unplug. Unplug means unplug from social media, unplug from any distractions, TV, things that are kind of taking you away from what you need to be focusing on, right? Then eat healthy. That's also part of physical. Diet and nutrition, y'all know you need to eat healthy. I don't need to tell you anything more than that. If you have lived as long as I have in this planet, you know you need to eat healthy. And if you're not there yet, you will get there, where you're like, what did I do? I need to eat healthier. I'm getting all these conditions. Then get regular medical checkups as well. So we talked about that yesterday, and I felt I was very heavy yesterday on the medical, and so that's why I came back and I said, let's focus on you guys knowing that there are actually 6 dimensions in terms of self-care and taking responsibility for yourself. So the next dimension is psychological. So that means if you need therapy, if someone has told you you need to get some therapy, guess what? You need to get some therapy. Yeah. Last year when I was teaching a class on trauma informed approach, there were so many things that were coming up for myself, things that had happened in my childhood, things that had happened during my lifespan, and I was like, damn, I went through that and I never got therapy. I never went through any kind of counseling because the way I was brought up, guess what? We don't do counseling. You may go see a pastor or somebody, but you never actually go, or maybe you may talk to a friend, but you never get professional help. And then later on, these things you thought you had gotten rid of, they're gone, dead and gone, you've buried them. They start to resurface, and all of a sudden you're sitting in a pool of tears about stuff that happened 10, 15 years ago. Yo, if you feel you need counseling, if something deep traumatic has happened to you, seek some professional help, some counseling, because guess what? You need, as a human being, that stuff is important for you to unburden and for you to get the right strategies to get over those things. So psychologically, go to therapy, journal. Do you journal? Do y'all journal? I just started re-journaling. I kind of fall off. Sometimes I'll journal for a while and then I stop. And so I just started again in 2019. Now, it doesn't mean 2018 I didn't journal. I did, but I journaled some. But in terms of actually every single day committing to writing down things that I'm grateful for, things that I have had downloaded in my spirit, things that I'm thinking about, things that I want to improve on. That's all about, that's what journaling is self-reflection. So do that as well. Journal, self-reflect, relax, ask for help if you need it. That's psychological. Do something creative as well. So if in the past you were someone who was artistic and you would draw things and you would do things that are of the creative sphere, do that, because that's part of your psychological therapy. And we all have some creativity in us. Sometimes creativity can be cooking, it can be painting, it can be drawing, it can be music, it can be dance. Do those things. Janet Ratemo, I love to journal, but not. I know. And guess what? When you journal, one person that I know for sure was very consistent in her journaling journey is Oprah Winfrey. When you see her interviews over time, she always goes back to journals she did in 1982, back in the day, 1976, on January 29th. She has what she wrote, and it's like, how do you even have that? But then when she looks back, most of the journals that she wrote were speaking to who she was at the time, and so she can look back and say, man, I have grown so much. Or sometimes it's like, man, how did I even know to change, or how did I know the future, or how did I even know to have that vision of my future, because it's come to pass. Those things happen. All right, the third sphere is emotional. And I know I'm talking fast because it's a lot of information to get through, and we have six spheres. So, emotional is laugh, laugh, y'all. So one of the things I did, I put on this nose ring. Okay, this is a faux nose ring. Did y'all notice I have a nose ring? So it's called a faux nose ring, which means it's one of those nose rings that you put, but it's not, you don't have a piercing. So a friend of mine gave that to me for a birthday present because she remembers that last year I had mentioned getting a nose ring. I mentioned getting a nose ring. I also mentioned getting a tattoo. Now, in terms of the tattoo, in the summer, I went and I got a fake tattoo at the beach of an anchor. And so I was like so proud. I was showing everybody, look at my anchor, and it says Hope Hub. But I didn't go and actually get that tattoo, right? Because I'm scared. I'm scared of the pain, y'all. But she remembers me talking about the nose ring. And so she was like, for my birthday, she kept saying, I got you something. It's coming in Amazon. It's small. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. So I got it and I was like, dude, you remember? You remembered. So this is a faux nose ring. Now, my husband thinks it's hot. Do you think it's hot?
No, I don't.
He says, you look hot, girl. Child, you better get that nose ring. So I'm doing this. I've been working. That's why I have this pigtails also. So this was me today because I'm working out of my husband's office. So I had the pigtails and then I had the nose ring just to get him upset. Like, here's my nose ring, my fake nose ring. I'm gonna get a real nose ring. So guess what? You know, God sometimes don't like ugly because when we were coming back in the car, this thing, because I have a cold and I kept going, sniffing, it almost went up my nose, y'all. It almost went up my nose. I was like, oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord. No, no, I'm not going to the hospital, an emergency visit. Like, what is that? What is that that's gone up your esophagus? I'm not a nurse. Gone up your nose and then down your throat. It's a nose ring. It's a fake nose ring. But anyway, I love my friends. I love my coworker. She's my coworker. She's a good friend of mine, and she gave it to me. And so I was telling my boss actually today because I was working outside of the office. I took a picture of this. I'm wearing this. This is jeans. That's the beauty of working outside of the office. So you can dress however you want. So I was like, what is the dress code for working outside of the office, an alternate site? So she was like, the pigtails are fine, but the nose ring, mm-mm. Okay, so I'm gonna get off of that, y'all. I just wanted to make you all laugh. But the other thing that someone did as well for me for my birthday was someone actually bought me those Pacific soups, like the Pacific soup from the supermarket, organic soup, and it was squash. They gave it to me in a gift bag with tissue and everything. And so I was like, this is a coworker of mine. And I was like, what is this? And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm getting a gift. It was a gift, but then it was actually soup. So he was like, I know you're fasting. I wanted to get you something, so I got you some soup. So anyway, that was so, so cool. Guess what? My iPad just died. So I don't even know where I was. I need that. Oh, I didn't know you were watching. So bear with me. I think I was in emotional in terms of the self-care wheel. Y'all can tell me what that would have been a disaster. I know. Girl, that would not have been a good look. And here I was trying to make him mad. And then here I am doing a video with the same nose ring, and hoping that it doesn't go up my nose. So anyway, I know I was in emotional. I get so emotional, baby. You know that song? My daughter's been listening to
1964 music.
Whitney Houston, not 1964 music.
Yeah, I saw the
I think I'm on a PDF.
That was one song. That wasn't all of them.
Of
Yeah,
course now.
and
Okay.
Yes, Whitney Houston.
I found it. I found it. Yes. Oh, it's their bedtime. Say goodnight. Say goodnight.
No.
Good night. Good night. So the next dimension. So
Night.
anyway, I've covered emotional. So I talked about laughing. Find ways to laugh. I talked about the other day comedy. Find comedies, things that make you laugh. Find a hobby. Practice self love and care. Shiko.
Sorry, that was an accident.
If you like pets, cuddle with your pets. And then the other dimension now is spiritual. Hope Hub is a spiritual uh, dimension. It's a place where you can get spiritual nourishment. Okay, so spend actually for spiritual, they say spend time outdoors. And I was wondering, how is that spiritual? But it actually is. It makes you really think about the earth, the world, how beautiful it is, how the creation, the creative wonder of what this world is. It's hard for you to be outside and not think about God and how magnificent this planet is, right? So basically go outside in terms of spiritual, meditate, practice yoga, pray is also spiritual, get inspired by people. All right, so personal is the next dimension. For personal, they say create a vision board. So I personally create vision boards, and I create vision boards at least once a year. Now, with technology, I used to do the vision board that's on the wall, the huge board. Like for me, my board would be at least from here to like here. It would be so big and huge. It would take up like a big portion of my wall. But this year, what I did is I've actually got 4 vision boards, but they're all on my cell. So this is my husband's cell, so I can't show you. But basically, as a screensaver, I have created a collage on my screensaver. So it'll have images. It has images. It has text. It has those things that speak to my goals and where I want to be in future. And so I have that on my cell. I have it on my screensaver at work. I have it on my screensaver on my laptop here at home. And so I kind of have it in front of me all the time. So I don't know if that works for you all, but that's what I did. It was a collage made of pictures, and I did it. I think it was Canva that I used, or picture something, I forget, picture collage. Yeah, I think that's what I used, and so that's what I have as my screensaver. Now recently there was something, because especially during the time when I was fasting, you get a lot of strategies, and even when you unplug, you get a lot of strategies that are being downloaded into your brain from God. For me, I figure it's from God. And so when I have those moments, I'll scribble, or I'll write down the things that are coming to me, and I'll write it out, I'll draw it out, I'll have different sections of a piece of paper, and then I'll take a picture of that piece of paper. So this year, what I did in the last 3 weeks is I took a picture of what it was that I was getting from God, and now I have that as a screensaver. It's my lock screen on my phone. All right, so personal is create a vision board, get out of debt, get your payment plans together, establish goals, spend time with loved ones, learn who you are, cook. Learn who you are and cook. In terms of one of the things in terms of spending time with loved ones that I've been thinking more and more about is that even for me, I have a tendency of letting things that are happening with me professionally, are happening with me in terms of my social media, in terms of my social space, kind of seep into the quality time that I'm supposed to be spending with my husband, the quality time I'm supposed to be spending with my children. So what I've done is intentionally, I'll stop myself from thinking that way. Even sometimes I'll be reading a book, like right now I'm reading the book Capacity Building by Sino Agueze. I started reading it yesterday, and immediately I was thinking, oh yeah, this would be good for the Hope Hub. And then I was like, wait. No, this would be good for me. I'm going to take as much that I can learn from it. I'm going to read it from the perspective of a person reading this book, enjoying the content, getting what it is I need for myself. And then I'm going to then be able to take that, and if I may not then use some of those nuggets for the Hope Hub. But then if I decide I'm coming from a space of this is a professional thing, I'm reading this book because I can use it for work, I'm reading this book, when really that was not the original intent. The original intent was to grow me in terms of learning more about myself in terms of spiritual awareness, in terms of what are those things that God has for me and what I need to do to increase my spiritual capacity, then I have to basically be intentional about making that decision. All right. So, yeah. So, anyway, I guess my point is when you're spending time with your husband, okay, spend time with your husband. If you're watching a movie, watch the movie. Don't be sitting there thinking about Hope Hub, professional this, social media, your news feed, all these things. Yes, so the book is, his name is Sino Agueze, and the book is Capacity Building. And that's because I have an interest in increasing my capacity. So not only am I reading that book, like today while I was making chapos in the kitchen, I was listening to Bishop Tudor Bismarck, who has a YouTube video on capacity building, because that was one of my goals for 2019, is how do I increase my capacity? How can I do more and more things that are growing me, not just doing more to be busy. Because that's not, that's exactly what I'm talking against here in terms of self care. Because we live in a society where it's almost a guilt trip if you take time to relax, a guilt trip if you leave your dishes, if you're vegging out, if you're on Netflix. It's like there's always that feeling, maybe not, maybe it's me, where you feel pressure that you always got to be doing something. Even making chapos, I'm still listening to stuff. So I need to do better and just be present in the chapo making. But anyway, my whole point is I don't want to be sitting watching a movie with my husband, and meanwhile, I'm thinking of something professional. I'm thinking of something else, that instead of being present in the moment. That being said, yo, I watched a movie called Gone Baby Gone. Don't you watch that movie. Somebody should have warned me. And nobody, I had no help. Nobody told me that that movie would be so graphic in terms of there's some things you can never unsee. So what I'll tell you is there's a missing boy in that movie. There's a missing little girl in that movie, and it's just a tragic movie. There's some good in it, but there's also a lot of bad in it. And there's a scene in that movie where it's like you cannot unsee that scene. And after I was done, I even told my husband, I was like, why do I feel like I need to drink whiskey? Like, seriously, I don't even drink whiskey or vodka, but I felt like I needed a strong drink. That's how crazy it was. So I'm just telling y'all, I'm warning. Just a warning. It was a very, very sad movie. I was like, I think I've picked a good day to start drinking whiskey. I told you I would warn everybody, don't you watch that movie. Mm-mm-mm. And then American Story, Shadi? American what? What did we watch? There's this series also on Netflix called American something. Crime. I'm just telling y'all, don't watch it. I don't know. It's supposed to be. My boss is the one who got me like to watch it, but really after I watched it, I was like, oh my god, my heart. I was so heartbroken. It's so deep. Sometimes I just want to watch things that are relaxing, things that are not traumatizing. But though that show was traumatizing. Okay, the fifth area, the fifth area of self care, sixth area of self care, and final is professional. Leave work at work. I already kind of talked about it. I love that one of the people in my classes said that they actually will come into the they'll I don't know why my husband just left the tap running and I can hear it now, it's distracting me. But when you get home in the parking lot, sit in the parking lot for a while before you go into the house. um I know it was drama. It was drama. If you're asking about Gone Baby Gone, it was drama. And the reason I watched it was because I went online and checked out what are the best movies on Netflix. So it was like, what are the top 10 movies on Netflix 2019? And so that came up as a movie. And so when I talked to my husband was like, oh, yeah, I heard about it. Ben Affleck is a producer. Oh, that's Ben Affleck's brother who is acting. Oh, this is a good movie. It won a lot of awards. So, of course, I was like, oh, yeah, we got to watch it. Child, let me tell you. And we were multitasking, by the way. We folded all the laundry, but I don't know. Maybe we need to just watch the movie. All right. So leave work at work is one thing. One of my people in the classes said, she'll drive around the neighborhood or the community before going home, kind of to decompress, listen to the radio, listen to some music. Some people will get home, change out of their work clothes into their regular clothes because it helps them kind of detach from work. So whatever it is that you do, I hope you do something in terms of leaving work at work. For me, obviously, that doesn't work. Most of the time, I'm running, and so I'll come in and I'll start cooking immediately, just the way I spent the day. It's so sad, but I need to do better. Take vacation, take sick, take your mental health days. They're there for a reason. Plan your next career move because it makes you look forward to doing it inspires you and motivates you to work harder. It also makes you think about, okay, if I'm a pay grade 16, what do I need to do in order to be a pay grade 18? And so you're kind of constantly working towards that goal. So take lunch breaks. Take your lunch break. I'm guilty of not taking lunch breaks. My husband, I'm working at his office this week. He does not take a lunch break. He sits there from morning till night. In fact, today I was like, can you just like pace, like walk around up and down so that even when you're talking, because you're talking on the Bluetooth, it helps to kind of move or walk away or go get lunch somewhere. All right. Avoid working during days off. Yeah. Learn to say no. It's hard to avoid working. Like now I have a phone for work, so I'm constantly on call. Like people can reach me so easily and they know that I'm reachable, so they'll do that. And then learn to say no. So that's the self-care wheel. I hope you guys hopefully, I don't know if I'll be able to attach it because I think it's a PDF, but you can easily look for the Olga Phoenix self-care wheel on Google. It'll come up. It's a PDF. You can print it. It gives so much more strategies in terms of those 6 domains that you can implement, more than the ones that I talked about. And then in addition, you can actually print a blank self-care wheel that you can fill out for yourself and say, these are the things I'm going to commit to in this year to carry out as part of my self-care. So what does the Bible say about self-care? Which I have lost my verse because it was on this other device. But essentially one, I told you my it came off. Janet, it's just me and you. So there is my phone nose ring. I think I have a big nose. It was bound to come off at some point. So anyway, in terms of the Bible, all I'll say is the one thing that I read on here is it trust in the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might? I think that I know it was funny. It was bound to fall off. So yeah, I think it was either that verse that says trust in the Lord with all. No, is it trust in the Lord? Oh my God. Does it say trust in the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might? Anyway, one of the best examples is the story of Mary and Martha in terms of self-care. And that was the verse that I had for you guys. And essentially what it shows is that Mary, during that season of her life, instead of being in the kitchen cooking and preparing and ensuring that the visitors were fed and really doing all these things because Jesus had come to visit, Martha was in the kitchen doing all this instead of Mary being in the kitchen with her, right? What did she do? She chose to sit at the feet of Jesus and just soak in his presence and learn and be with him. Like, what an opportunity, right? So I guess in that specific example, what that means is that for all of us, we're all in different seasons of our lives, and it's important for us to recognize what we need to focus on in our lives, what's important, what is the priority, right? What is more important? Like, there are times when I'll leave the dishes in the sink, right? Because I'm just like, I am so exhausted. I can't do it. I can't do all of this. I just did all this homework. I just made chapos. I made this. I made that, and I'm looking at a sink full of dishes, and I have to make a decision. Is that going to be the one? Am I gonna force myself to stand there for another 45 minutes or whatever and clean up, or am I just going to go to sleep, and when I wake up and I'm energetic, is that's what I'm going to do? Am I going to choose to use this Saturday to schlep around the house in pajamas and whatever because it's like a vacation that I need because I've been working so hard all week? Or am I going to force myself to clean the whole house up and down, and then come Monday, I'm just as exhausted as I was when I was leaving, right? So, anyway, the point is recognize what season you are in, recognize what you need to focus in on, because self care is important. Like I said yesterday, put your oxygen mask on first. And don't feel guilty about needing to have balance. Don't feel guilty if you need to lay down on in your prayer closet and just level yourself down and ask yourself questions. Who am I? What am I doing in this season? What do I need to focus on? Whatever you need to do, sometimes you just got to take care of yourself. Oh, one thing my deputy director told me is, she said when she would get home, she would just go into her bedroom, and her kids knew for 1 hour they shouldn't bother her. So she would just lock the door. And she said, unless the house is burning down or some other catastrophic event is happening, you leave me alone for that 1 hour. That's my me time. That's my time to decompress. And then when I come out, then I'm mommy and I'm ready to go. So whatever you need to do. So, all right. So that was a long video, y'all. Thank you so much for indulging me. I'll see you tomorrow with another. I think tomorrow is Wednesday, right? Winning Wednesday, Words of Wisdom Wednesday. So I'll continue the character study of Joseph that I started last Wednesday. So the Bible verse will have to do with Joseph. Otherwise, y'all take care. Bye, Janet. Thank you for hanging with me. God bless you. Bye, YouTube.